Hello everyone, welcome back to one more video. So today I'm going to walk you through a powerful feature you can add to your web applications, the password reset functionality with the OTP verification via email using Node.js. This is a very crucial feature for any application that deals with user authentication, and we're going to break it down step by step so you can implement it easily. In this tutorial, we'll be using several key technologies. First, Express.js for building our server and handling routes. Second, crypto for generating secure OTPs. Third, node mailer for sending emails. Body-parser for passing incoming request bodies. And then the last one, EJS for rendering our views. So we'll also make a use of some environment variables to keep our sensitive data secure. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional password reset system that you can integrate to any of your own projects.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start everything from scratch. I'm going to code everything in the VS Code. I'm going to show how everything is set up and how we are actually configuring everything. So let's get started. So first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to create a server file here. So we can name it server.js. Let's name it server.js. Okay, perfect. And now we need to install some of the libraries that we discussed, and those libraries will be inside the npm packages, Node.js packages simply. So that is not going to be an issue. We can just simply download all those libraries using the single commands, and that'll be easy. Let me show you how it actually works. So first of all, we'll have to make sure that a compiler recognizes that it is actually a Node.js project. So for that, we just have to initialize our Node.js files. So in this way, so now you can see that package.json is exactly inside this. So all the packages have been installed. Now we have to install all the libraries that we need. So those are Express, WS, Crypto, Node Mailer, Body-parser, .env, and EJS. So we can simply download all of those libraries using the single command. How are we going to do that? We can just use npm install Express, Crypto, Node Mailer, Body-parser, and .env and EJS. I'm going to explain each and everything. Uh, Let me just first of all install it. It will take some time to install this. And now if you can see that all of the packages are now installed. Okay? So all the packages are now installed. Now let's go ahead and import everything that we have installed. So first of all, we are going to install a const express const. So we're going to import express, so we can import it by using this const express is equals to require express. Oh, oops. Let's simply just remove that. I think I missed the code here. Yeah. Okay. So express is basically for building web applications. Second thing is we need to import WS, which is WebSocket. So that WS WebSocket is actually for the real-time communication. So for example, if you want to build any real-time communication inside your application, such as a chat application or video streaming application or anything like that, you can just simply use WebSockets library, and then you can enhance all of the functionalities that has been there. Okay. So next thing is crypto. So crypto, we are going to use crypto for our OTP generation. We just need to make sure that everything happens in a secure space. Then we will import Node Mailer. Node Mailer is also the very crucial application, crucial framework if we want to implement this email notification functionality. Then next is const body parser, const body parser, and that is going to be const body parser is supposed to require body and then parser. Okay, so body parser is basically for importing the body parser middleware for parsing incoming request bodies. So whatever we are submitting through HTML forms, we need to parse those somewhere so that it can recognize the input that has been sent through the client. So for that, we are going to use body parser. Okay, so it is right here. And then next thing is we need to import, or we can say that we need to load environment variables from a .env file to keep all the credentials secure. So what does that mean? So because we are actually implementing the Gmail notification here in this application. So it is going to send OTPs to the certain from the certain email ID to the certain email ID. So for that, whatever, so for example, if I'm sending it from my email ID, if I'm sending OTP to you in this code, I need some credentials to be stored of my email so that it can just automate email from my side to your side, right? So for that, I need to store some credentials. And what is the best way right now for this level of application? We can just store that in our environment variables in .env file. I'm going to show how to do that. So for now, I'll just copy this line that I have, and in this way, it will load all the environment variables that we have, all the environment variables from a .env file. Okay, so now what is next thing? We need to create a application instance now. So that is going to be okay. Let me see. Yeah. Const app is equal to express. Okay, so const app is equal to express. That is how you create an application express application instance. Now, second thing is we have to set EJS as a rendering template for the as a template engine for rendering views. So whatever stuff we are putting in the client, we will just make sure that it is using EJS template. It's just some dynamic form of JavaScript we will be using. It's not that hard. It's similar to HTML. So, but using this is more recommendable rather than just using common HTML files. So it is going to be EJS. This. Okay. So now we are all set. Okay. We are all set to in terms of engines, because an engine is also set for rendering the views from EJS templates. Now, second thing is we will need to create an HTTP server, creating HTTP servers. How are we going to create those servers? We will just do a const server. It's supposed to require HTTP dot just use the create server function, and then we're just going to pass the application instance that we just created. Okay, now what else we need to do? We need to also configure the app to use Body-parser to parse URL encoded body. So I just explained it to you guys that however we are going to get the data from client, we need to parse all those information, and we're going to do it with the Body-parser. Uh, so we will just use this. I have it here on my clipboard, app.use Body-parser.url encoded extended to. It simply means that you just have to uh, parse those bodies which are coming from the client. Okay. So now we have this. Okay. Now what's the next step we can do? We need to configure the node mailer. Okay. We need to configure the node mailer, and for that we need to initialize it, right? So we need to initialize it in some form of object. We can say const transporter. We can keep. I mean, we were saying if any name you want, and I'll just prefer response transporter because it's just a common name that everybody use, and it's also aligning with this function create transport. Over here, what you can do is you can simply create an object, and what are we going to include here? We will see service. We have to define what service we are using. So in this application, we are using Gmail. We are using Gmail, so we will need some credentials for our Google account, and then authentication. And then for that, I'll need user. User means username, and then I'll need password. Okay. So now here comes the main thing. And how are you going to get these username and password for our applications? Okay. So pay attention to this. We are going to create an environment file now over here. So we can see that we have an option to add a file. What is happening here? Wait, I don't want to open this. Yeah, for some reason it's opening. Yeah. Okay. So for here, we're going to create a email credentials file. Right? Email creds.env file. Okay. Email credentials.env file, and we are going to store our credentials here. So what you can keep whatever name you want to keep, but I have this variable names already created in mine. So you have to keep it like this: email user and email password. Email pass and email user. That's how if you just create the variables, create that .env file, you need to do nothing else because you just because if you can see that you just install .env here, so you don't need to do anything else besides this. Okay, so you can create this. Now, next question: how are we going to see what's our password, right? And we will have to see how are we getting the passwords. For that, let me pull up the Google Chrome window, and I will show you guys how you can actually get your credentials for Node Mailer. I'll just shift my video a bit down there. So click here, click settings. If you are getting some options to change the passwords here, go ahead and do it because everybody has some different versions of Chrome on their laptop or in the browser. So what works best for me is I'll just type in Google accounts, and I think I messed up. Yeah, okay. Sign in Google accounts. You will be able to open this window. Now go ahead and click on data and privacy. Okay, sorry. Click on security. Now, so one thing you have to make sure that whenever you are opening this, two-step verification should always be on if you want to implement this functionality in our code. Generally, this two-step verification is always on. If you have it will not be on only and only if you have not done it manually, maybe. But that's how you can do it. Click on that two-step verification. Scroll down. You will see app password. Okay, app password. You just have to come here, type the app name, like type in whatever you want. Let's say I'm giving my app a name, like some random name. Let's say I'm giving my name as an app, as a JigCode or something like that. Even if I'm giving that name, I'll be getting some password. What we have to do is that you just have to copy and paste that password in our env file. Is that enough? Is that sounding fair enough? You just have to do this, and that should be all. Now, whatever work we are going to do, we'll do here. Okay. So let's go back to our code and see what else we can do. This okay, it should be this comma. And now, if you want to access the variable that we created inside env file, we can access it by env process.env. And what name we gave? We gave, I guess, email user. Okay, so email user is the way of fetching the username. And then when you will click here, process.env.email password. Okay, so that is how you fetch all those things, right? Using the transporter. So it is actually configuring a node mailer transporter for sending emails using Gmail service with the credentials that we have stored in our environment file, which is already there in environment variables. So that is all which is happening inside that. Okay. Now, maybe we would want to check that whatever we have stored, is it correct or not? So how are we going to do it? Console.log email user. We have a user, and then for that, I'm just going to do this is process.env.email user and this. Okay, so we are going to be like this, something like this, process.email and pass. Okay, perfect. So these are just the debugging statements to make sure this is for yourself. So that if you are doing it in some real life applications, don't do that. I guess everybody's smart enough to understand that, but I'm just saying that debugging statements. These are just the debugging statements so that you can know that we are pulling the right data or not from our env file. Okay. So now next thing is let's go ahead and store our OTP somewhere so that it can recognize if it is the correct OTP or not the correct. So if I'm using any real life application or if I'm using in a big project or something like that, I'm going to use database and all that, right? But here I'm just trying to avoid that extra code of database setup and extra time for setting it up. I'm just going, this video is just for determining how we can get the OTP notifications for forget password functionality. So I'm going to use just the simple memory that JavaScript has. And that is going to be const OTP store, and it is just going to store it in a map. Okay, so I'm going to write this, and I'm also writing this that this is just for testing purpose. This is just for testing purpose. Don't use it in a production environment. Use database instead. Okay, so yeah, this was just the basic stuff that was needed to be set up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and implement some of our routes. Okay, let's go ahead and implement some of our routes. So though I think for this we just need two post routes with two post routes for two view files, two client routes, because we just want two windows. So like right, because for example, let's just assume that I've already clicked on forget password and I've been asked to enter the username and enter the email ID. I'm sorry. And as soon as I enter the email ID, it is going to send me some OTP. And once I get the OTP, I'll be prompted to some other page where I have to enter the OTP and it is just going to verify the OTP. So it is basically only the two HTML pages that we need. So I think it will be only two pages, two post routes, forget password and verify OTP. That's it. Okay, I'm just trying to avoid some complexity here so that we understand better and we don't get much confused, right? So app.post. Let's just go ahead and say forgot password. We're going to name this, and then we will do it with request response. This is an arrow function creating for outs. This is just some basic stuff that everybody should know. Okay. So in forget password, it's up to us what are we going to pass in a request. I think it will just be an email because I just need a text box where I can type in email and then I can click on the button to send OTP. So it'll just be an email. So let's say email, const email is equal to request dot body and then console dot log email, console dot log email. This is also for just the demonstration purpose or debugging purpose, I'll say, just to make sure that our input is actually reading correctly, has been reading correctly. I'm sorry for the wordings. Uh, this is only for debugging. Okay. So now we need to generate our OTP. How are we going to generate the OTP? Right? How are we going to generate OTP? We can generate it by using random int function that crypto library has. So we can say const OTP is equals to crypto dot random int, crypto dot random int, and it is going to be some 6 digits. So let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 or 7 digits. It's up to you. Okay. So this is just generating a random 6 digit OTP. Now we need to make sure that we are setting up that OTP with the email that we have inputted so that it gets synced together in our system. So we can just set it in our memory by using set function, email and OTP. That is it. So it is just storing the OTP to the user's email in the map. Okay. So now let's just configure the email options. What are going to be the email options? Email options will be from, who is it from, to, who am I sending to, subject, password reset, OTP. It's up to you, whatever you want to keep in those texts. That's perfectly up to you, but let me just go ahead and create mail options. Okay, so I have, if you can see that, I have created mail options and from. If from, who is it from? From, it's me. I'm the admin. So where is the email of admin? It's an environment file. How are we going to access that? We are going to access it by using process.env dot process.env dot email user. And then in two, we are going to write email. And then for subject, I'm going to just write password we set OTP. Sorry, for two, it's going to be email because we are storing the input that will be set, that will be done by user in the web page here in email variable. So we are just doing to email. Okay, so that is that, and then subject and text. Text will be whatever stuff we are going to put it there. So your OTP for, let's say I'm just going to put it, your OTP for password reset is this OTP. Okay, and I think that was it for the mail options. I don't think we need anything else for that. And then we can just send the mail by using transporter.sendMail. We create a transporter here. So that is the object that we are going to use now, transporter.sendMail. What are we going to use? And the method, we are going to use mail options because that contains all the information that we need to send out, error, and and it will be info. Again, that's just a simple usual arrow function that we're going to create. Now, here, error and info. So we have to make if and else statement for both. So if it is error, just simply throw an error in console. So it should just say console.error, error sending email, and then error. Perfect. So now we are going to response.status 500. Yeah, it is going to send 500 as a code because of course it is just the error that we're getting if we don't have an right email or something's wrong with the input. Okay, so it's just the 500 bad request. Sorry, it's not a bad request, but server error it will get. Okay. Else means we didn't get any error and we successfully sent out the email. So we're just going to write email sent, and then it will be info dot. Okay, that is going to be response. Okay. And we are going to render verify OTP page. Verify OTP page is basically a web page where I'll be asked to enter the OTP, and I'm going to verify if the OTP that I've entered is correct or not. Simple things here. Okay. So that is this for so yeah. So now we need to write out one more route here, and that will be verify OTP. This one, which will be responsible to verify if the OTP that I've entered in a request is correct or not. Okay. So it is going to be post route as well. So keep it verify OTP, and then just do request response. Again, arrow we need, right? And then this was okay. So this time we will be needing email and OTP both in our request. So we are just defining that. Okay, and then o const o stored OTP. Okay, so how are we going to get the OTP? How are we going to determine basically that what was the OTP that was sent? So if you remember that previously, just in this line 36, we stored the OTP in the memory. So it is always going to remember that, right? So if we want to determine if it is correct or not, we will do OTP store dot get, and we are going to pass out email here. So it will know, okay, yes, to this email address, I sent this OTP, right? Yeah, I think that was it. Now, if stored OTP, if stored OTP is equal to OTP, stored OTP is that we have in memory, and OTP here, that is user is that will be the OTP that user is entering. So we just need to make sure that both are equal or not. And if it is equal, we are just going to say response status 200, and then send out the message saying that OTP is verified and it is correct. Okay, OTP verified. And else will be just the error code that we will send. Status 200, send invalid OTP. Okay, perfect. Now, once we know that the correct OTP has been sent, we will make sure that we are going to delete that OTP from the memory because again, we are not using any database or anything like that. So for this, we just need to we will just have, I think, one OTP stored at a time. So once we have it verified, we are just going to delete the OTP from the memory. Okay. So it is deleted now from the memory, if you can see that. So there you go. Now we need to determine what port we are using. So it will be just const port equals to so let's say I'm using 5000. You can use whatever port that is free on your system. It doesn't really matter. And then this is the last line that we need to write in our search server. That is going to be this. It's just the function which will listen to the port 5000 and for our reference, we can just say console.log server is running on the port. Perfect. Yeah. So this is what we have from server now. Now, after this implementation, the only very simple amount of work has been remaining now, is remaining now. So we are just going to go and do the client side implementation.
Okay, so now our server has been implemented. So now a very small amount of work is remaining. Now all we have to do is we have to implement two views, which will be the client side code. That is very simple code, simple HTML code. I have it in my other project, so I'm just going to simply paste that code. I will explain that, but I don't think it needs that much explanation. But let's see what that code has. So here we're just going to first of all create a new folder called views. We have to create a folder called views, otherwise it wouldn't recognize the EJS files in our server. So we have views here. So what are the things that we have defined in the routes? Two routes are there: forgot password and verify OTP. So first of all, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name it same as our route, and that is going to be forgot password.ejs. Okay, and forgot password EJS, and that is just going to be the simple HTML template code, which will look something like this. So if you can see that it's very simple, we are just going to give it a title, forgot password. We can add whatever styles we want to add. For now, we just that is not something that we need to focus on right now. We are just trying to implement the functionality. Form action. So we have defined the route here. Form action methods post. Again, same thing. And then we have to we have to take the email as an input. Okay. Now, second route we are going to make is verify OTP. That is also very similar to this. We are just going to take our email and we're just going to take email and OTP as an input so that we can verify if the OTP that we have gotten is correct or not. So that is the simple EJS files to client-side files. Now, one more thing we need to do is that in order to open those files, we can't open those files with the post routes. We need to implement the get routes also for that. So let's see how we can implement the get routes. For the get routes, we are just going to simply write here app.get. And we have to write get routes for our two EJS files that we have created, forgot password. Again, same thing. And okay, let's make the forward password as a default thing. So that means whenever we are going to start the server, it just simply opens the it simply opens the forward password page. Okay, and then I'm going to do that, and then we have to render the forward password page. Okay, so now it is rendered here. So that means it is going to open the forgot password page as soon as we start the server and we locate to that URL of the server. Now the next thing is the same thing we're going to do with verify OTP. Verify OTP is not going to be the default route, so we are going to write here verify OTP request and response, and instead of forgot password we should have verify OTP here. Okay, that's all. I think that is everything that we needed to implement. Let's go in a terminal and let's see how we can get it working. So tutorial JigCode. Okay, we are inside that folder now in the terminal. We have to write npm start. Okay, there is one thing that is not defined. EJS is not defined according to this. Okay, yeah, there was this simple mistake that we did. We have to include this in a quotes, then only can recognize it. So maybe now it should work. Let's try npm start again and see if our server is still up and running or not. Okay, we forgot to save the file. Sorry. Yeah, um, I already did it with Control S, and then let's try to do it again. Okay, server OS is running on the port 5000. Let's see in our Chrome window if we are getting that page or not. Okay, so 127 0.0.1 5000. Okay, forget password. Now see, let's just assume that we have already clicked the forgot password button in our application, and it prompts us to this page. Now we have to write down our email address. So I'm just writing out my address here. So that is going to be simply this one. And then I'm going to click on send OTP. Okay, it says error failed to look up view in views directory views. Okay, there was only one issue that was not that was the reason why we were not able to open the file. It was because I have written render over here. It shouldn't be render, it should redirect. So it should be response.redirect verify OTP, because we are implementing this functionality in a way that if we will have any error in sending email, it will return us the 500 error code. But if that is not the case, we should be able to send the email successfully, and also we should be able to redirect to the verify OTP page. So I think this should solve all the problems. And run the let me go and run the server again in our Chrome browser. So let me go and run the server again in our Chrome browser. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just write npm start. I have written npm start. Okay, now it should run fine. Let me write 127.0.0.045,000. Yeah, this one. Now let's send an email to this. Now click on send OTP. Once I've clicked on send OTP, I'm going to go and check in my email if I have gotten the email or not. If I've gotten the email or not about the OTP. Let's see. Yeah, I have gotten lots of OTPs here. Okay, now this is the problem. Here it is saying that your OTP for password reset is this. Now that means there is some syntax error which is there. So now we have to debug that. I think this was the problem. It should not be a single code like this. It should be under this. Now I believe it should solve the bug. Let's see. Let me save this. I should go here and then terminate job Y. Going to do this again. Let's start the server again. I'm going to go back. I'm going to refresh. Let's write the email address again. And let's see if now we are getting the correct email at OTP. Yes, we are getting the correct OTP now. So 8165293. Let's go ahead and do this here. And now if I click on OTP verified, so it will say verify OTP, sorry, and then it is going to say if the OTP that was entered was correct or not. So here was how you can develop this application's functionality. Okay, I think that was everything. We made some mistakes. I made some mistakes and syntax errors, but if you would be a little bit more careful than me, you will not be able to you'll not be able to get all these problems. So I think that was everything from my side, and thank you so much for watching.